I'd like to call the Board of Trustees regular meeting Monday, November 4th, 2013 at 7:30 to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adoption of agenda. I have some additions that I'd like to add. Under new business, I'd like to add letter H, SAW grant application. Letter I, SAW grant resolution. Letter J, America Recycles Day. Letter K, Township Holiday Office Hours. Any other deletions or additions, please?
I would like to add building manager resignation classified as approved at the special meeting of 10/22, just discussion.
Would you like to add that under unfinished business?
No, I want it under new business so that it will reflect in the minutes so that we'll be able to.
Okay,
find
letter L, then we'll add that.
it. It was K. Building manager resignation. Discussion.
And also, too, I'd like to ask the board, we have Jim Glock from the Lynch Group here tonight to give a presentation. He dropped his family off and he still has over a 2-hour drive, so if we could do him after our reports before unfinished business and get him out of here, that would help him out tremendously.
What is it?
Pardon?
20F, which goes.
Oh, I can see it.
So if we could start him before unfinished business. Mr. Glott, we'll try and get you out of here as quick as possible, sir. Any other additions or deletions? None? Have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Make a motion to adopt the agenda as revised.
Support.
Thank you. Motion by Clerk Key, supported by Treasurer Ottenbacher. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public comments. Any public comments this evening? No public comments. Approval of minutes, 10/7, 10/22, 2013.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of 10/7 and 10/22, 2013 as presented.
Support.
Thank you. Motion by Trustee Boyd, supported by Treasurer Ottenbacher. Any other questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Sheriff's report. We're still lacking an updated sheriff report. Fire department report.
Receive and file, please.
Thank you, Chief. EMS report. Dwight?
Just briefly, I did send the board an update just before leaving my office this evening for your meeting, so I'd ask you review that when time permits and give me a call should you have any questions. I do have one request of the township. On January the 7th, 2014, from 3 to 9 p.m., the American Red Cross has requested permission again this year to use the township hall, if it's available on that evening, for a winter blood drive. I just want to make sure that's okay with the board before I tell them that date is all right. If that date is in conflict with something else, we can certainly work with the Red Cross.
Could you repeat that date one more time, please?
It would be January the 7th,
From what to what?
from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m., which means we need to get in here about 1 o'clock, and usually they're out by about 10 o'clock.
That's a Tuesday.
That's that should be a Tuesday night.
So 1 to 10.
Yes. We did that last, I believe we did it here last winter. We've been doing them here in January and up at the Richmond Township Hall in July. If that's an acceptable date, I'll let the Red Cross know. If there's another date that would work better for the township, we certainly have ample time to change that or so.
Can you just double check tomorrow so that someone can actually look at the calendar, just to make sure there's nothing on it?
Sure.
Seniors would be the one I would be thinking, was there something for them? Okay.
I'll follow up tomorrow, just make sure there's nothing else on the calendar, and then I can go ahead and give them the okay if there's not. Who actually keeps the calendar? I mean, who should I check with?
You know, you got the calendar in the.
Yeah, just give us a call, Jeff. We'll coordinate it with you.
Very good.
Just to make sure.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. DPW report.
Just ask that you receive and file my report for this month. Unless anybody has any questions.
Questions? Questions? Thank you. Code enforcement report.
The liquor inspection reports have been submitted to the clerk's office.
Thank you. Assessing department report. Questions? Engineers report.
Receive a plan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Safe. Library report.
See the file.
Thank you. Senior Center report. Any questions?
I didn't get one.
I don't have one either. I'll skip to supervisor's report. Just would like to inform everybody this year, the community dinner for New Haven Lenox Township, the 5th annual one, will be held Friday, December 6th, 2013, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. If anybody would like to volunteer or be involved, there's a meeting this Thursday at 6 o'clock at the Village of New Haven offices. If you'd like to volunteer some of your time for the dinner or help out during the dinner, be much appreciated.
What's the time now?
6 to 8 o'clock, December 6th, and that'll be at the New Haven High School again in the auditorium where we've had it in the past. Thank you.
Thursday, the meeting's at 6.
Thursday at 6 o'clock at the New Haven Village office. Treasury report. I don't know, I better check. How's the acoustics? Is everybody hearing us okay?
I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Support.
Motion by trustee Churchy, supported by trustee Boyd. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Orders and bills.
I removed one bill, so the new total is $222,471.29.
Read that one more time, please.
$222,471.29.
Thank you.
And I removed number 56, Pitney Bowes. It already been paid.
Make a motion to approve the orders and bills at a total of $222,471.29.
Support.
Thank you. Motion by trustee Churchy, supported by trustee Boyd. Deputy clerk, roll call, please.
Churchy.
Aye.
Boyd.
Aye.
Attenbacher.
Aye.
Keith.
Aye.
Trombley.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Trustees report, trustee Churchy.
The only thing I want to report is that at our last planning commission meeting, it was our first meeting with our new planner, clear zoning. Jill attended. We kind of had just like an open forum discussion. We kind of brought her up to date what we were doing with the rec plan and given her ideas, and if anybody has any further ideas about the rec plan, to give them to her. And they may both attend next meeting, but they are setting up the process of moving it along, because we have to do a survey and then have a meeting for public input and stuff. So that's our main concern right now, is getting the rec plan. And we let her know that we are pushing to get it done as soon as possible, because we want to start applying for grants. So, thank you.
Trustee Boyd.
I have nothing this time.
Thank you. Clerk's report.
We have school elections for Richmond and Armada schools. They're both going for villages. There's also still the recall situation going on with New Haven, and there will be more on that to follow as it gets closer to the May timeframe.
Thank you. A motion to receive and file, please.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by trustee Churchy, supported by trustee Boyd. Do you have any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item. Lucci Group informational update discussion. Mr. Glenn, do it, please. If you could identify yourself for the record, please, and pull that mic real close to you, 'cause sometimes it's... Thank you, sir. Yeah, but, do you have any, pull that mic up there.
That's good. Jim Gallant, Kingsville, Ontario.
Thank you, sir.
A handout's been distributed. You'll note that the date is incorrect, the venue is incorrect, but all the information that it contains is correct. We presented this for the Macomb County Economic Development Committee in relation to the application for the landfill. Anyways, at that meeting and at this meeting, we're providing an update in terms of where we're at. We've been working for almost a year and a half now on putting a large greenhouse installation adjacent to the existing waste management Pine Tree landfill site. The advantage of locating there is because we're able to get waste energy off the engine jacket cooling loops, and all of that heat could then be used to heat the greenhouse. And then in addition to that, Detroit Edison have a local 120 kV transmission line that we're able to hook up to directly, and thereby get very inexpensive power. And the whole intent would be to have the greenhouse equipped with grow lights, which for a 30-acre greenhouse would require about 15 megawatts of power. So power is a very major consideration. Over the past year and a half, the work that we've done has been very much hand in hand with Ron. Has been very helpful personally, as well as on the technical side, especially in terms of trying to get our, make sure that we're compliant with all bylaws and the technical information related to utilities and infrastructure there. One of the issues was the corridor, the utility corridor that we would have to, if you look actually on the second last page, but the front of the second last page, it provides a map of the yellow outline being the landfill property boundary and the piece of property to the north being the site that we're proposing to construct. We have entered into and put deposits on both the energy buy-sell agreement with Waste Management, as well as the land purchase with the current owner. So the utility corridor would be largely going up that yellow leg of Waste Management property, and we needed assistance because it also encroaches on TransCanada pipelines. So CERMED was very helpful in dealing with TransCanada, as well as laying out the heat recovery system that is depicted on the back of that same page. And then, of course, making contact with the local project management company and the environmental consulting firm. And then beyond that, we're just waiting for financing. And last year, what caused the delay was the greenhouse industry had a slow year last year. This year was a booming year, so the banks are very eager, and that's why we're trying to get set for as early as spring 2014 construction. Any questions?
Would you like to start?
Since this is just like a basic intro from you, there's a lot of different questions, but I think that'll come once you submit to like the Planning Commission for actual plans, because I'll need to see like how much, lighting will be from this and how much traffic and things like that, but that all comes into play, later on. Like I said, once you submit actual plans.
Right. We have got the greenhouse laid out, but we haven't started the municipal approvals process and the bylaws, whatever amendments are for the utilities and traffic and noise and light pollution, which are all issues that we're very familiar with from the Kingsville, Leamington municipalities in Ontario have over 2,000 acres of greenhouse, so all of these issues are well understood.
Now, is there like a constant light glow coming off of this? I mean, are the lights on 24/7? I mean, I have no idea how this is.
No, the lights are on typically, let's say, 5 months out of the year during the winter months. So starting, let's say, in October, November through till March, April, and they'll be on for anywhere from 12 to 16 hours, starting, let's say, at midnight, going through till 11 a.m. or starting a little earlier than midnight. But there are curtains, shade curtains, to prevent that orange glow from disturbing neighbors.
That's what I'm trying to picture as far as, the light pollution, as you call it.
Yeah.
That's it for right now. Like I said, but the more questions will come when you actually apply for this.
Yep.
Thank you.
Question, Trustee Boyd?
Yeah, one thing I've been real curious about, everything's grown floating in water, correct? or something along that line?
Not floating, it's on, the growing medium is rock wool, the same rock wool that you might use to insulate your home.
Okay. So there's not an overabundance of water usage? I'm kind of, my biggest concern is, the way I understand it, there's gonna be a lot of water used. Where's that water supply gonna come from? Are you guys gonna dig wells, or are you planning on tapping into the Reschitz water line?
No, we plan on tapping to the municipal water line.
Yeah, most of the questions hopefully will be answered in front of the planning commission, so right now that's pretty much all I was curious about.
Treasurer Hoppacher?
I think I agree that we'll have a lot of questions on down the line, but I'm happy to get something in front of us that explains and shows us what you're all about.
I agree at this time.
No further questions, huh? Mr. Glenn, I thank you very much for making the trip over and being with us this late in the
A
evening.
pleasure, thank
And,
you.
very informative, thank you very
I
much.
appreciate moving the schedule around.
No problem. Safe trip back. Thank you,
Thanks.
sir.
Don't forget your wife and daughter.
When do you expect, I'm sorry, I do have a question now. When do you expect that you're going to be coming in and starting the process? What's the time frame?
The municipal approvals process, I would guess within the next 3 months.
I'm sorry.
3 months.
3 months?
You're not by the,
Yeah.
okay, thank you, sorry about that.
Thank you much. Unfinished business. Policy and guidelines manual.
We did talk that we were going to need another meeting, so really, all we need to do is set that next meeting.
Correct.
Chris, Karen, we're looking at November.
Wednesdays are okay, like I said, but the earliest on is the 6th. And I guess we gotta work around Chris's schedule.
Actually,
He's-
I'm on
he's
midnights
changed.
now, so
Right.
I'm more flexible. I can be here pretty much any evening.
The other nights of the week would have to be closer to 7. So, whatever works for you
I would
guys.
rather not do the 6th because we have this tonight, we have an election all day tomorrow, which is a 15-hour day.
Right.
And Ron and I have a meeting with Birchler on the 6th, so.
No, I meant 6 o'clock on a Wednesday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Or 6th Wednesday, yeah. I just noticed, yeah, wait a minute, no.
6 o'clock.
Actually, and this week I'm good. The next couple of weeks, though, as everybody knows, it's hunting season, so,
And then we're into Thanksgiving.
yep.
So
And with talking to Laura, she would be available like the 19th, but Ron was going to be gone, so there was a conflict in the schedule. So the next earliest we could meet would be the first week of December.
I will not be available on the 19th.
Yeah, I knew that.
Well, there's a lot of work that has to be done on it, even before the attorney's input, so.
Well, we're trying to get you a clean copy, so everybody has a clean copy with all the changes that have been made so far.
Yeah, with the holiday and stuff, I think the first week of December probably would be the,
December 4th, that's a Wednesday.
Well, why don't we wait until the December meeting then, because then everybody will have their calendars.
that would be fine.
In the meantime, if everyone looked at the section that was pulled out, the job descriptions, and go through them and clean those up so that we could be ready to move forward with it. Make a motion that we table the policy and guidelines manual discussion until the December meeting.
Support.
Motion by Clerk Keith, supported by Trustee Boyd. Any other questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Looking for December 6th. Can
Hold
I?
it. Is the microphone or something keeps cutting out of that?
Yeah, it was doing it the whole time Mr. Gallant was talking to. Laura's schedule's a little bit more busier than ours, so if I could tell her to just pencil in the 6th. or the following Wednesday, is that okay?
The 4th.
The 4th?
December 4th.
So December 4th or the following Wednesday, just to, is that all right or no?
I'll available both.
Let's give her a couple of,
Check those 2 days,
Yeah.
that sounds reasonable.
Okay, and then we'll send you an email. Thank you.
And then if I find out I'm off one of those Wednesdays, I'll call somebody and we could do it during the day,
Earlier.
if it works for the attorneys. But I have to look at my schedule too.
Planning Commission appointment. Once again, I'd like to appoint Jerry Jeanette to the Planning Commission.
I have no problem with Jerry Jeanette being on the planning commission. My concern is him being the liaison between the two, because we really need someone with experience on the ZBA. We have 3 that are pretty green on the zoning board of appeals right at the moment, because we have not had a lot of meetings since 2008.
Is it all right to combine these 2 topics and talk about them at the same time, the zoning board of appeals and the planning commission?
They're separate agenda items.
Well, because I
You
feel,
can talk about them.
okay, that's fine. I feel like Jody does. Jerry may be a good fit on the planning commission, but I would like to see someone, namely Chuck from the planning commission, be the liaison for the ZBA, because he has the most experience and he can help at the planning commission level and take what he knows to the ZBA.
I agree with that.
No, Attorney Jovich, I had asked the question. It's very clear that on the planning commission level, the supervisor appoints, the board approves. On the zoning board of appeals level, it is the township board that appoints.
Yes. With the planning commission, the statute's very clear that the supervisor makes the appointment and then it is brought to the board for approval by the board of trustees. With the ZBA, the statute indicates that the board of trustees makes the appointment. Typical procedure in many communities is for the supervisor to bring people forward, but that is not contemplated under the statute.
How's it been done in the past year with the ZBA?
It's actually been done both ways.
Has it?
I'll make the motion that we follow the supervisor's recommendation and appoint Jerry Jeanette to the planning commission.
Support.
Motion by trustee Churchy, supported by clerk Keith. Any other questions or discussion?
Now, if we do that, does that automatically make him the liaison because he's on both boards?
Just said the board appoints to the ZBA.
I understand that, I'm talking about, but he's going to be on both boards, does he automatically become the liaison?
Yes, if he was still on the ZBA, but that depends on what happens next.
questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
I make the motion that we place Chuck Stramers on the zoning board of
One
appeals.
moment. Zoning Board of Appeals appointment. Thank you, go ahead.
I make a motion that we appoint Chuck Stramers as the zoning board of appeals liaison between the ZBA and the planning commission, therefore removing Jerry Jeanette from the ZBA.
Support.
Motion by trustee Churchy, supported by treasurer Ottenbacher. Other questions or discussion? You're asking for the removal of Jerry Jeanette from the ZBA?
Yes.
Mr. Joppy, can't just do that, can you?
Well,
I thought that only has to be under malfeasance.
that is a valid question. Let me make sure I have this understood correctly. Mr. Jeanette is currently on the ZBA,
Correct.
and the other gentleman, Chuck, is also on the ZBA presently.
No.
So the motion would be to appoint him to the ZBA and to designate him as the liaison.
That's what her motion was.
Yes, for Chuck Stramers, yes.
Well, I think that there's actually two questions here, and I have to admit that it's something I would have to look into. The two questions, as I see it, are can you have two members of the planning commission on the ZBA? Is that permissible, or does the statute indicate that only one planning commission member can be on the ZBA? It is quite possible the statute indicates that. I don't have that information with me today. The other question is, can you remove an existing member of the ZBA who does not ask to resign his position on the ZBA without some sort of cause? I believe there is an issue with that, and I would also like to check into that before the board takes any action.
Okay. So should the first appointment to the planning commission be rescinded?
That is up to the board if you would like to rescind that, or an appropriate avenue to take in that could be a motion to amend that prior motion to make it subject to the opinion of the township attorney on the two issues that I've identified, and that would bring it back to the board for a final review. And if there's no need to take any further action, then that appointment would stand. If there were a decision by the board to reconsider that at the next meeting, we could do it at that time. But the appointment wouldn't be effective until after the next meeting. So my recommendation would be that if the board desires, make a motion to amend the prior appointment to make it subject to an opinion of the township attorney regarding the issues outlined this evening, and to not be effective until after the next board meeting.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by trustee Churchy, supported by clerk Keith. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Now, where does that leave planning commission or zoning board of appeals appointment then?
Well, under the circumstances, a motion to postpone that item to the next meeting would appear to be in order.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by trustee Churchy, supported by trustee Boyd. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay. Motion passes. Pre-application review fee schedule.
This was touched on lately with Attorney Jobbik before the meeting started, and we are not ready with anything. So, make a motion that we table the pre-application review fee schedule.
Support.
Motion by Clerk Keith, supported by Trustee Boyd. Any other questions? All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Request for proposals for Township Engineer.
We talked about putting this in the paper sometime the second week of November and giving, well, maybe we should do it towards the end of November and giving them all of December to put their stuff together and having the deadline be in January to bypass the holidays. I remember it.
So put it in like the 9th and the 16th of November? I'm sorry, so we ran it on Sundays, 3rd and 10th?
Have it in the paper the 13th.
Oh, are we putting it in, which paper are we putting it in, the Voice or the Sun Daily?
That's up for discussion.
I think Macomb Daily would probably be more effective. What did we do last time? You remember?
We have it in the home dealer last time.
I'm not sure because this comes out of the supervisor's office. Carol, do you remember where they went? She thinks Macomb David.
Yeah, I don't know that the Voice would be all that effective for something like this. I mean, you want it to get out a little bit farther.
Didn't we talk about some of the, like online or like the magazine for engineers or something?
I know that's what we did with the planner.
Yeah, that's what we did, the planner, so I got out there.
I would think that would be expensive though, to advertise in a magazine.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. Did we advertise them for the planner in a magazine or just on, mention online or something? Or just use the paper?
Magazine for planner, I don't remember.
I don't think so.
No. Just the newspaper?
Okay.
Okay, so we could put it in Sunday, December 1st. And then having the deadline be January 6th.
We're gonna run it once or twice?
Pardon?
Run it once or twice? One weekend or 2 weekends?
I'm just thinking that the 24th of November, Sunday the 24th would be kind of useless with it being Thanksgiving and people being gone, paying for a book. So if you wanted to do it twice, it would be the 1st and the 8th maybe.
And then have them due back by what date?
January 6th.
I think that sounds good to me.
Publishing once or twice. And put that in the form of a motion, please.
Do we think twice is necessary? Do we think doing it twice is necessary?
I think something that is this important, I think it should be.
It gets around word of mouth too.
I'll make a motion to advertise for RFP for engineer in Macomb Daily, December 1st and December 8th, with RFPs due back by January 6th.
Support.
Motion by trustee Boyd, supported by trustee Turchi. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Motion passes. New business, fire department furnace replacement.
Evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Provided everyone a copy of a cover letter as well as 5 quotes for furnace repairs, actually furnace replacements at both stations 1 and 2. Unfortunately, we've had 3 furnaces that all have cracked heat exchangers, so they will need to be replaced. Instead of going with the normal 3 quotes that I would normally get on a job like this, I actually went with 5. And you'll see by my cover letter that quotes number 1 and 2 I found very inadequate and incomplete, so I discarded both of those. So I narrowed it down to quotes 3, 4, and 5 through Air Conditioning Engineers, Airworks, and Superior Heating and Cooling. And my recommendation is to go with quote number 5 from Superior Heating and Cooling. They don't have the lowest price, they have the second lowest quote, but my biggest interest and concern was the warranty on the heat exchangers, and they were the only ones that could provide us a warranty on the heat exchangers for the furnaces at station number 2. That's a really big deal. So that is my recommendation. So at this time, I'm requesting board approval to allow me to award this contract to Superior Heating and Cooling, unless there are any questions. Furnace at Station 1 is 25 years old. That is the original furnace. And the furnaces at Station 2, which are out in the apparatus bay, those are original also. And they are 14 years old. So they're due.
Now, will Superior be putting in the smaller furnaces?
As far as,
You said in here that they said that they're actually oversized.
yeah, he truly believes that the furnaces at Station 2, which hang in the apparatus bay, were oversized right from the get-go. But I told him to give me a quote, so I'm comparing apples to apples all the way across the board, and I pointed that out in my letter. But if he really truly believes that they are oversized, then we'll go with the smaller size, and that it will be less than $6,800.
Well, the warranty is a biggie.
I can't hear you, Jody.
I said the warranty that he's offering is a biggie.
Yeah, this is the best.
I'll make a motion to approve for Chief Boucher to go with Superior Heating and Cooling for furnace replacements for Station 1 and Station 2.
Support.
Motion by trustee Boyd, supported by treasurer Anbacher. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna say, having had 2 quotes given to me today for a house furnace, this is a really good price.
Yes, they are.
That'll be fire department firefighter glove replacement.
Okay. On the 17th, I got a letter to the board indicating that we need to replace the firefighter structure gloves. Fortunately, 2 years ago, I was able to secure a grant from Enbridge to buy all the firefighters extrication gloves, but we can't use those gloves for structural firefighting. Under my OSHA Part 74, we are required to provide the employee all their personal protective equipment. Their gloves are pretty much wore out. I had budgeted $1,700 for this line item in my current budget. As you can see, I'm just a little bit over, and that's because I did that quote, 6-8 months ago, or my original investigation on prices. How's this one? That one better? Okay. So anyway, I received 3 quotes from 3 of our current vendors, Apollo, First Due, and Douglas Safety. And at this time, I'd be recommending and requesting board approval to purchase the gloves through Apollo at a total cost of $1,782.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by trustee Churchy, supported by clerk Keith. Any other questions or discussion?
Is this every pair? This will be everybody getting new gloves?
Yes.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Chief. Administration fee for property tax.
Okay, you all have a packet. I worked several hours last week trying to get this together, and as you see, I've gotten, just received a letter this morning from the assessing department. Lisa Griffin has kind of give us a response as to how we could use this administration fee. It's something that we could have been doing many years ago, and I didn't at the time because I felt in our community here we were all being taxed on a lot of things, and so I didn't do it. Everybody around us does put an administration fee on their bill. I contacted 10 communities. Ray, the Village of New Haven, Chesterfield, Armada Township, Richmond, Casco, and Columbus, and the City of Richmond all put an administration fee on the tax bill, both summer and winter. It's not placed on any specials, so anyone that has a fire or a road millage, or we have some residents that have their water and sewer hookup that we've stretched it out over a 10-year period, it would not be charged to those people. It would strictly be on your ad valorem taxes that you pay for the schools and the county. Back when I was asked to do this I probably worked with 7 different assessors. I didn't do it because of the fact that I thought we were all being taxed too much for things anyway, but we were making a little bit of interest on the money that we collected for the taxes. Right now, we're not making anything on the interest, and the banks are charging us horrendous fees every month. We're getting charged fees for everything that they do for us, and we've got no way to recoup this. We had to borrow money from the general fund at the end of last season to even pay all of the schools and the entities that needed to be paid. That came out of our general fund. The township shouldn't have to absorb that. So what this does is, I figured it would amount to about $80,000. It's not much for each of us as an individual, but when you put it all together, it would sure help defray a lot of the cost. And as Lisa said in the letter that she sent to all of us, and the paperwork that I've contacted the MTA on and the other communities, it would help pay for the assessing. 80% of what we pay our assessors, this could be used for. We're fighting tribunals at a great rate right now. We are paying back money and interest to a lot of the, not just residents, it's going to the state and fighting their taxes. It's big commercial people. We have, I think, in their assessing report, I think there's like a dozen that are hanging over us right now. And they're not just getting money back from 1 year, they're getting it back for the year 11 and 12 and this year. And it's hitting us every month. The attorney fee, just to have our gal Stephanie take care of these and fight these for us. It's quite an amount that we could use this to defray that cost. So I am asking, we have to do a resolution if we're gonna do it. And it's a 1%. And I'm asking the board, as I have several other times, that I think it's time we need to do it to help defray some of the costs that we are incurring here.
And this year we, because of the banks are all charging service charges. Karen has shopped around trying to find someone that doesn't, they all are. The tax account, the money that goes in has to go right back out. There isn't any extra. If it goes into that account, it goes to someone, whether it be the county, the schools, wherever. And like she said, because of the service charge and the lack of interest, it's just been hitting every month. Two, she gave me an example of using my own taxes, and it would be under $25. So,
Like I said, it's not much for us individually, but as a whole, when you add it all up, it sure would help defray a lot of these costs. And like I said, Lisa, to just today, put this in my box that this would help defray a lot of the costs for the assessing. And it would help cover our expenses, a lot of our expenses in the treasurer's office too, because the summer bill that goes out, we don't get any of that. The schools and the county get all that money in the summertime. But I do collect it, I send the bills out, we put the postage on it, we spend a lot of dollars on it, and we don't recoup anything back for it. So it would help us tremendously. And I didn't do it before because, like I said, we were making interest, and because we have our landfill, and we do get monies from them to help out, we felt we could handle it. But all of a sudden now it's become, the banks aren't giving you any interest. They keep giving you extra fees every month, and for every check that they handle, they want money for. And as I said, I've switched banks several years in a row, and they'll work with you for a while, and then all of a sudden they're all doing the same thing. They're all charging you the same fees. So we got to get it from somewhere, and I don't think the general fund should be hit for it. I don't think that we should have to take the brunt for it.
I know, Karen, you've been struggling with whether to present this for quite a few years now. And we've been putting it off because nobody wants to pay higher taxes. But it is only 1%. And even townships in northern Michigan charge this. And comparatively, okay, you also gave me a copy of what mine would be, and it would be approximately $36 more a year. That's less than half a carton of cigarettes. So, I mean, yeah, it's tough on everybody, but I think we need to add this in so that the fees come from the right place and we're covered. So.
And you said this wouldn't start until summer next year.
Yeah, it's too late. I'm ready to start really printing my bills this month, and I'd like to just wait and get it going we talked about it, I think, in the minutes last time. I asked for it in last year, and Jody had suggested that I kind of keep track of these fees and that, and I think I was supposed to address this again maybe in May or June, and we all know I wasn't doing real well at that time with my surgery and that, so I kind of forgot about it until it was time again to start doing bills, and all of a sudden I'm thinking, so I got on the stick and started calling people to see, what everybody was doing, and so I would like to do it. If we can get the resolution and everything done, get it in place, then it would be ready to start next summer on this summer bill.
Any other discussion?
I'll make a motion that we pass a resolution to impose a property tax administration fee as presented by the treasurer.
Support.
Attorney Jaffe.
Yes, I do know from experience that this needs to be adopted by way of a formal resolution adopted by the township board. It's really not that long, and I took the materials that the treasurer's office supplied in your board packet. I could read it into this meeting record.
I would appreciate that.
Okay, then I'll do that, and that would actually, and then a motion could be made to adopt the resolution.
And then go back to that.
As read.
That'll be great.
Well, I rescind what I said and I turn it over to Attorney Jaffe.
Thank you. All right, this would be resolution of the Lenox Township Board, Macomb County, Michigan, whereas the Township of Lenox, Macomb County, Michigan is responsible for assessing ad valorem property taxes, collecting property tax levies, and handling review and appeal matters arising therefrom, and whereas PA 503 of 1982 provides for imposition of a property tax administrative fee of not more than 1%, and whereas it is the desire of this township board to approve and authorize the imposition of a property tax administration fee as a fee to offset the cost incurred in assessing property values, collecting tax levies, and in the review and appeal process. Now therefore be it hereby resolved by the Township Board of Lenox Township that the Township Board does hereby approve and authorize the imposition of a property tax administration fee of 1% on all sums voluntarily paid for property taxes before February 15 of the succeeding year in which the same shall become due and payable. This resolution shall apply to all property tax levies that shall become due in the year 2014 and any year thereafter, and this resolution shall continue in full force and effect and unless and until revoked or rescinded by resolution of the Lenox Township Board. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to pass the resolution as presented by Attorney Jaffe.
Support.
Motion by trustee Turkey, supported by trustee Boyd. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion passes. Resolution passes, I should say. Replacement computer purchase.
The last time we replaced computers was in 2010. There are 4 computers that I have identified that were purchased in 2008. End of serviceable life on a computer is anywhere from 3 to 5 years, and these are at the 5-year stage. Also, there are 4 other computers that are being utilized that are even older than that really need to be updated. So with that said, we would replace the 4 purchased in 2008 with new ones, move the 2008 ones to the non-full-time, non-key positions in the township.
Any questions?
Jody, on the shipping, is that 49 for each or?
No, that's total.
That's a
Because
total.
I asked him to quote out 4.
Okay.
Now, he did also say for another $50 per, we can double the RAM, and that's probably a good thing, especially with the BSNA.
Right.
So the total for the 4 of them would be $3,445.
Other questions?
Make a motion to approve the purchase of 4 Hewlett-Packard computers, the cost of $3,245.
should be the
I had
3,445 because of the additional.
3,445.
Change the cost to $3,445.
Support.
Motion by trustee Boyd, supported by trustee Churchy. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
I just want to say one more thing on computer stuff. The DSL has been hooked up. Today is the first day that it was actually online. I don't know how many people noticed this difference in the speed, but there is a lot. So that was a big help. There is an issue with one of the alarms going off. It didn't go off tonight, did it? It's been going off almost every night, and it has to do with the new DSL line, so that's being worked on.
Thank you. Township parking lot traffic sign request. John?
Hello. There was an issue about 2 months ago about one of our seniors had a small fender bender in our parking lot. Everybody's fine, cars are fine. There's just not one stop sign or speed limit sign in our parking lot. And we were thinking that it might be a good idea to have something. It happened right, it came in the north entrance, and she was coming around straight in to where the
By the
generator
dumpster
is.
area.
And she went to turn there. She did stop and look. When she went to move, another car was coming from this parking lot, and that's where they got hit right there. I know we all have to be responsible for ourselves and not drive super fast in parking lots, especially when there is a park and there's children and people in the park. But people do. There's been many times leaving here at 5 o'clock and soccer parents are coming here and they're racing in here.
That's the number one issue we have for the practices, for the sports practices.
Yeah.
We see parents that are flying in here. Looks like you're guilty, Mr. Judd. It's an issue that we've had to go out and actually
Correct.
talk to people. They fly in here, there's kids around, somebody's gonna get hurt, so.
I know we can, next spring, when it's soccer season, let the ASO, let them know that their parents have to slow down in our parking lot because there's been close calls. I'm just worried about the township. And I guess we need to talk to, the sheriffs or road commission or somebody about.
This is one proactive step we can take in starting the process and fixing the problem.
Yeah, and I was going to talk to Sir Ned about where placement, because we've got so many different angles and pathways where a stop sign should go, but I can talk to him about that.
So how many different, what are you thinking?
I was thinking 2 stop signs or a speed limit sign at the entrance, just to
I
let
think
people.
the speed limit signs is an excellent idea.
I agree.
I don't know that it's enforceable, but it's there.
Right.
Because it's in the public, I don't know, and they might because it's owned by Lenox Township, but I'm also thinking maybe, and you would think they would know this, but kids that play, I've seen those signs, and those nice and big,
Right.
sometimes grab people's attention, but the stop signs, I don't know where we put them. Oh, it's,
Yeah, it can be very tricky.
yeah.
Right, and we don't have any designated crosswalks from the parking lot to the soccer fields or to the playscape. I guess if we did, we would have a stop sign there.
That's actually a very good idea. Because there's camera cement, isn't there a handicap, the ramp going from the parking lot across, that we could put the lines for an actual crosswalk?
You can.
Yeah, just a thought.
The biggest blind spot probably have is the dumpster area. When people make that loop around the parking lot, if traffic's leaving, they don't stop. It's right there, and that's where that accident was also.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And if you're in that first row, where the township car and truck is, if you're parked in there, and you're blinded not only by the dumpster area, but you're blinded by the two township vehicles because you can't see them until you're out, sticking out of the way and bumping into another car.
I understand the partial need, the need for it, but I'm not sure if it's really necessary it's gonna work. Okay, think of other parking lots, school parking lots, Kmart's parking lot. They don't have stop signs, other than going in or going out. I don't know that signs are going to correct a problem. It may create a problem because people aren't used to them being there, and somebody's going to take for granted somebody's got to stop, and that person doesn't. I mean, you see it all the time through this, even the school. They do have some stop signs and some signs, but
Usually at crosswalks.
nobody's going that speed limit. Everybody rolls those stops. I mean, I don't know that it's gonna, I'm thinking it might make it worse.
What about the speed limit signs?
Well, out of these two companies, because I definitely think that we should have the speed limit posted, even if it, like you said, even if they don't do it, at least it's posted and it makes people stop and think. This company is extremely high.
Yes, after I made these copies for everyone, I was told about another company, it's called Wensco Signs, and I can get a stop sign for $20, which is,
About the speed limit.
I wasn't the one that made the call on this company, he didn't ask for speed limit signs. But if we can get a stop sign for $20 instead of $35 or $85, then.
And it still would be cheaper than putting in speed bumps.
Right.
Speed bumps would be, I think, very difficult to have in place. It would
But that's the
throw a
only way
wrench
you're
into
gonna slow people
Cam.
down.
Pardon?
That's the only way you're gonna slow people down.
Oh.
I agree with Karen, they're not gonna pay attention to the sign, but I do think for $20 or whatever we have, that we should get something out there so that at least we have that in place.
And we do have the option of talking to the soccer people,
I think we should do that also.
and everybody that rents the park, put it in our pavilion roles.
Right.
A rental agreement, thank you. Yeah, because.
I don't see where it'll hurt us to do both, especially if we're talking $25 a sign or around that. I don't see a negative effect of doing both.
We can also, since it is November, table this and I can put in another call to this other company and see about the other signs.
I think the bigger issue is probably where we would put them and how many and what they're going to say, whether it be speed limit, watch for children, stop signs. Now that they pointed out that it doesn't hurt to have all this, but the stop sign, I could see where you're saying possible because people just don't pay attention to them. They're not used to them being here, so for a while that might be a little scary. I think I'd like to table it until we come up with some spots where they would be, what they would say, and how many. I don't know if you'd want to,
Yeah, I can talk to Matt, I can talk to the sheriffs too, and get their input.
I think just a general discussion should be had with everybody that goes in and out, at work and everything. I don't want to have to pay the engineer to have him do a study of the parking lot.
No, because we can ask our planner to, they've got a traffic.
I think just
Would you like
the
to leave it
people
up
that
to our...
work here, could give suggestions. And when we work on this next month, we could say, well, everybody thought it'd be good to have a stop sign here and a speed limit sign there.
Yeah, we could all walk around and take a look and see what all of us thinks and kind of put it all together.
I'd ask for a recommendation from our DPW director.
a good idea.
Make a motion that we table the traffic sign request until next month so that it can be decided where, how many, and what type.
Support.
Thank you.
Motion, thank you. Motion by Clerk Keith, supported by Treasurer Attenbacher. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Already done the Mucci Group. 2014 limestone program. Everybody's familiar with our limestone program?
I'm going to be real simple. I make a motion that we approve the 2014 limestone program at a cost, our cost 10% of 3 miles of limestone to be applied.
Do we know where we want it applied?
I was just about to ask the same question.
We'll do the same thing as we did before. We leave it up to our
EMS.
fire chief, our EMS director, and our DPW director to make the recommendation based on our gravel road maintenance map.
3 miles.
And I discussed with the road commission today that we usually wait till spring after the thaw, so we can know which roads held up well and which ones didn't.
And we did get a check back for our salt brine application, which was sizable, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
So-
There was no explanation why.
just an overpayment.
Yeah.
I'll
So
be
that's
coming.
definitely gonna cut this way down.
Yeah.
I'll support the motion.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Jody did, right?
Motion by Clerk Keith, supported by Trustee Boyd. Other discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Jeanette, we just want to make sure that they know that we're going to wait until the spring conditions before we make that recommendation like we have in the past. Thank you. Saw grant application. Mr. Safe.
Good evening. Thank you for adding the 2 items to the agenda. I'm just going to give a brief detail about this SAW grant. And then I'll entertain any questions. This SAW grant, which stands for Stormwater Asset Management and Wastewater, got adopted or was given by the state in January for $450 million available for stormwater quality problems to address that. And since then, it got evolved and changed so many times that now instead of just storm, it's sanitary problems and asset management. The state is encouraging municipalities to go proactive in asset management planning, and they really want to push for this through this grant. So there are 3 components: the stormwater, the asset management, and wastewater that many municipalities will be applying for. And this is split into 8 categories, which is a planning cost for a project, design cost, user charge, wastewater asset management plan, stormwater asset management plan, and innovative water and stormwater technology, and disadvantaged community construction costs, excuse me. The grant is limited at $2 million cap for each community. The first $1 million has a 10% match, local match, and the second $1 million is 25% local match. If we are labeled as a disadvantaged community, we will get 100% grant. but that is capped at $500,000. Now, since then, we've been trying to get opportunities to apply for these grants. I shouldn't say unfortunately, but our system is so new that it does not qualify for any of these grants. The only section, the sewer section, is from the existing meter station, the pump station, to the prison. That's about 20 years old. And then the rest extending further to the Bay River area, that was about 5 years old. And then the Lenox local, which from 26 to the north end, is only another 5 or 6 years old. So they don't qualify for any I&I study, infiltration, any rehab. They do not qualify for any of that work. So any construction grants, unfortunately, we cannot apply for. The only part that we can apply for is an asset management plan, and it's applied to the wastewater, which is 6 miles of sewer along Gratiot, and then another 2 miles along 26 Mile Road. So Cam and I met, and we tried to put the details of the asset management plan, and this is labeled Appendix C, and I believe that you have that. I emailed that to you guys. And then I'll go over it quickly.
Which one does it look like, sir, Ed?
It's got all the costs on it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
There's a bottom number, almost 150 grand. And that's as much that we're estimating that we can ask for. Now, this could have a 10% match, or if we are labeled a disadvantaged community, that would be all paid for. The components of the asset management plan is basically inventory the existing system, make an assessment of the existing system, and it allows us to model it and meter, just to make sure that we are tight as far as no water coming in. We can buy GIS software and asset management software. We can have training and hardware. We can also apply the grant for cleaning, televising the old segment. We can also do a rate structure development to pay back some of the debt cost. We can also have staff trained to review all these reports. Now, a lot of these are broken down into hours and cost, and some of them are lump sum from vendors. And the bottom line number is almost 151 grand. Now, our cost, as I mentioned in my previous email, we will not charge the township to put the application together. If we get the grant, then we will invoice the township.
Now, you were talking about how the system's newer. Is all of this stuff that you have listed under the project cost worksheet, is that all stuff that's necessary? Or could some of that be eliminated as it really doesn't need to be done?
You don't have to do all of them, but as part of an asset management plan, you really want to have all these components in.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
In your opinion and Cam's opinion, this is stuff that really needs to be done anyways. Okay, that's what I was, just want to make sure that.
Now, what is your approximate cost that you would invoice us
It's about
if we get
$5,000.
this? Pardon me?
5,000.
5,000?
Yep, that's listed under other, and it will be covered by the grant.
Okay.
So if there's a 10% match, your cost would actually be $500. And if it's 100% covered, then your cost is zero.
Because that was this is 100%, right?
We can apply for 100%. They're still crunching the numbers, and I submitted preliminary numbers to DEQ. They were not sure because of the debt to the county. We're actually not sure because of the debt to the county if we qualify it, because of the 6 Mile sewer. Technically, it's still owned by the county. We don't own it until we pay all the bonds back. But then I received confirmation that they are not doing anything with that, so we are going for it. It's a Lenox sewer. We're going to classify it as a Lenox sewer.
So you're gonna do all the grant work.
We're going to
Doesn't
apply for
get
the grant.
approved, doesn't cost us a penny.
0.
Okay.
If it gets approved at, say, 90, and we have to pay the 10%, if we can't do it at the time, we can back out of it, or?
You have to pay it back. There's a 3-year clause in the agreement. I believe
Yeah, it's
Attorney
3
Jobs
years.
reviewed that.
No, but I mean, if, okay, you apply this and say in 2 months they say, okay, yeah, we authorize you, we're giving you this grant for 90%. What if we say we can't do it?
Oh, you refuse
Just
it?
don't take it.
Yeah, you don't take it. You have to accept it first. Yeah, that
I,
was...
that's what I, yeah, I
That will
didn't mean
stop the
after we
procedure.
started it, yeah.
Yeah, right now, we're only trying to beat the time because your next meeting is on December 2nd, and the application is due on December 2nd. And this pool also seems large, but a lot of communities are going to apply for a lot of money. And we're only applying for the asset management portion. There are 3 other big portions that the county, most of the county is going to apply for, and the other communities are going to apply for. And, you know, we don't want to miss, just because we want to submit December 3rd, we want to miss the submittal deadline. And tonight, we're only going for the resolution because we wanted to put a number in that resolution to adopt it, because part of the grant requirements is a resolution be adopted during a regular municipal meeting. And our next meeting is, you know, it'll be too late if we do that.
We're under the gun.
Yep.
You know how I feel about being under the gun, Sir Matt.
I know.
I did
but
not have a chance to really look at this morning.
Trust me, these guys, they issued the final document on October 21st, so we didn't even have time. I mean, I appreciate the attorney's time looking on this really quick. The final document was issued October 21st, 2013.
Well, I think to sum it up though, worst case scenario, if we don't get this grant, we pay nothing. And if we do get it, worst case scenario is 10%. So I don't see any way possible that we lose here at all.
I definitely think we should probably go for it. So, if that's a,
It's a very complicated, I mean, it's very known when you get a grant opportunity like this, it'll make it sound so easy, and then you get into the details and it gets complicated by the minute.
Attorney Jopik.
Yeah.
Yes, I just wanted to mention that what you have before you this evening, I did review the materials and did provide you a quick review letter. I received them and just turned it around as fast as I possibly could. There is the provision that Sir Med mentions about you have to implement it within 3 years, or you have to pay back amounts and whatnot with interest, and that's all in the resolution and the materials that have been provided to you. The resolution that's being proposed as part of this, you cannot make any changes to. It's very clear in there, and you can't make any changes to the agreement either. The resolution is saying that you are approving the agreement, and that if it is awarded to you, and there is a contribution that has to be made, that the township is prepared to pay that. So
There's no saying no after that point.
that is correct. You will not come back to the board again, I guess is what I wanted to make clear.
Correct.
So
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that that was clearly understood. Additionally, if somebody is prepared to make the motion this evening, there are a couple blank spaces in the form resolution that they have And Sir Matt, I don't know if you were gonna go through and identify which of the boxes need to be checked in that one whereas clause, I'm not sure.
I only have one box. You can go over all the others.
I can what?
For the resolution?
Yes.
Yes. If you want to go over it, that's fine. I only have one box to fill
Okay.
in the
Actually,
resolution.
if we could have you read it into the record again, when we do that, that would be great.
Sure.
Hold on a second, I have a question, because he said, so, if it came back and it was something that now we can't do, we can't turn it down?
I think at this point, you are, you wouldn't be not, well, maybe it's a question more for Sir Med, but let me answer what I know of it. At this point, you have a project that you're going to be proposing, and your township engineer has explained the project for you, and I believe it would be a $150,000 project, is what the number in the resolution will be filled in as $150,000. And it would be for the project that has been outlined this evening and provided in your materials. So they're either going to approve that or not approve that. And the only question is, other than that, is whether you're going to get the 10% waived as that part of the application. If you qualify for the waiver of that, then you get the 10% waived. If you don't, then you're responsible for the 10%. Then you proceed forward. If you're approved for the grant and you get and you have to pay the 10%, you would have to pay your $15,000, and you get the grant awarded to you, and the money comes into the township to run this project. What it is saying is, if you don't do the project, then you have to pay back. So you do have to be prepared to go forward with the project.
With interest, right?
Correct.
With 8% interest is
8%
what you pay
interest,
back.
I saw that.
And it's upon demand. So they would have to make a demand, you'd have 90 days to pay them back, and it would be, I believe it's stated in here that it's something pro rata, so if there are charges that were validly made against it, perhaps those would be negotiable.
So the question is, where does the $15,000 come from, and do we have it? Do we really we do need to decide that tonight? Because once we approve this, we're saying yes, go ahead.
That's my understanding of the situation. I don't know if Sir Met has any different understanding.
Actually, it's not the 15, it's only our cost to put the application together, which is $5,000. The 15 is part of the grant application, which you're getting all these services and all these items.
Right, but Steve is saying the way that he reads it is, once we do this, we're
Yep.
saying we're committed. We're paying $15,000 no matter what, tonight.
No,
only if you
Okay.
receive
no,
it.
that's what Karen asked
Right,
before.
right, if it's approved,
When
we're
you-
saying we're gonna do it.
Once
There's no
you
backing
accept
out.
the grant, then you're on the hook. I mean, they could look at the application, they approve it, it comes back to the board kills it.
Okay.
You don't accept it.
Okay, well, if I may, Mr. Supervisor?
Yes.
Apparently my understanding is incorrect. I had understood that it would not be coming back to the board for a final approval. So,
No, they have to sign it, right? And they have to give the money to the community.
And still, I mean, the only comment I'd like to make is, I still see, even at the 15,000, I don't understand any negative to this. We would have to be saying, I mean, if you want to look at it the other way, we'd have to come up with $151,000 in the future to address these issues as they come up. So there's no negative here. I mean, it's either spend 15 grand if we're lucky enough to get this grant. If not, start planning on 151,000 in the future.
So everything that's on here, that we're applying for, whether we go for this grant or not, eventually you're gonna be coming to us for all of this stuff?
Eventually, yeah, you want to map your system, you want to do an asset management.
How often do you do all this?
Typically, when your system is like 20 years old,
And we're only 5 years old.
you're only 5 years old, one section is about 20 years old. And we have concerns about even the new system, that it has issues, that, the meter is not metered correctly, or we have inflow problems. Now, this does not address that, but it will help in the next step. If we find something, then maybe we could address it with the county. I can't say more than that. I'll be happy to take you aside and explain more. But it's off the record right now.
Well, I don't know that I'd like that. That's a little scary, that comment alone makes me wonder.
But I can say this much, this will help identify problems in the system. As part of the asset management plan, you have an asset, you're trying to study it, make sure that it's working for you.
But you're saying 20 years. So if we do this now, are you going to come again in 15 or 20 years and ask for this again? I mean, or are we better off just waiting? That'll give us 15 years to put this money aside to do this.
You can, but...
I don't know. I'm asking you if that's...
You can, but in the meantime, what do? You still have to do this for any problems. And we think we do have some issues, but we don't know where. Unless we go out and survey and do an asset management for the sewer, then we don't know.
If I may, if I understand what part of your concern is, once you map certain systems and do some of the locations of the mapping, you don't have to do that again. As far as cleaning, inspection, that's called routine maintenance. That has to be done every so often. Certain systems, depending on what's being flowed, what's hooked up to them, may need it more frequently than others.
Well, the other thing I guess that is a positive too is we have 3 years to do this. So you could stretch this out over 3 years and do a little bit here and there.
Right, there's no race to get it done in 6 months or a year. All this takes time. And then of course, different, as the dynamics of the system changes, so does the system change as a whole.
So I guess my biggest question again is, do we have the $15,000? Where's it going to come from? I think we should have that set before we do this tonight because...
Again, the 15,000, you could spread that out over 3 years' time. Technically, it would come right off the top of the grant of what's being allocated for the work.
That's the worst case too. I mean, if we qualify for 100%, no match, then you don't have to pay that.
That's an if.
That's the worst case, right?
Attorney John.
Yes, thank you. May I ask a question?
Yes, please.
The grant is awarded, and then as the project proceeds, certain expenses are incurred and submitted for payment through the course of the grant over the 3-year period. And with respect to each of those submissions, wouldn't the 10% have to be paid as those are submitted, or is it?
Depends on the grant and how they do that. I've seen it both ways.
Sometimes it's at the end when you submit all of your bills,
Right.
and then you get reimbursed everything but 10%. So basically, in some instances, you're paying your bills for the projects that are under the grant, and once you pay your bills, you submit for reimbursement of everything up to 90%, and then they send you that 90%.
So we may have to come up with $150,000 over the next 3 years to do this and then get reimbursed.
Depending on how this proceeds, yes.
Right, which we don't know.
But that's how typical grants work. That's how they operate, and you budget for them accordingly in the budgets that you adopt over the next 3 years. When you're looking at if I may continue on, as you proceed in your budgeting processes, you know you have this grant, if it's approved, you have this grant in your pocket, so to speak, and you know that you're going to have revenue going out, and you reflect that in your budget as expenditures, and you're going to have revenue coming in, and you have that reflected as your income. So it would balance out, and at the end of the day, once you're reimbursed, you're going to be paying the 10%. That's going to be your difference between the grant and what you get through the course of the 3-year budgeting process, as you outline the exact projects that you're going to do and the expenditures that you're going to make through the 3 years of the budget.
Okay, so anytime we can get money like this to do a project that is at some point is going to be needed, it's worth taking that leap of faith there. Now, with that said, the water sewer fund is an enterprise fund. It's supposed to be self-sufficient, self-funded, and the 15,000 would take a big bite out of what the water sewer has. Especially if you have to pay it all up, 150 all up front and wait for a reimbursement type of thing. It can be done through loans from the other funds that we've done before, so that is an option. We do have the funds to go forward with a project like this and wait for the reimbursement, but we have to be very careful that it all comes out of, in the end, the water sewer department, because it needs to be self-sufficient. That's what, I mean, it's an enterprise fund, that's what it has to do. So,
I think we should go forward with applying for it, see what happens. Then we can hash it out more and keep all this that we discussed in mind. Because that's the thing, yeah, we don't even know if we're gonna get it, but then we wanna be sure if we do get it, we have the money to support it.
Okay, so what Sir Ed's saying is it does come back to us to say yay or nay to it. If we do, we apply, we go through the procedure. See, I think even our attorney's a little confused, and I'll grant you, when this all came through today, I was ready to say no to this. I immediately, because you know how I am, I like to thoroughly go over stuff, and I did not have this to look at, and I was very busy today. Then I get the email at lunchtime from our attorney saying he thinks we should go ahead with this resolution, and that's all. But I'm not real confident tonight that this, I mean, if it comes back to us, and they do say yes, we qualify for it, as long as it comes back to us again to decide at that time, then we can say yes or no to it. I'll go with that, but
Well,
I do not like being pushed into these situations.
Can we make a motion, and this is a question, can we make a motion to approve for Surmed to apply for the grant and leave it at that? And that doesn't
Can we make
commit
that
us,
motion?
that doesn't commit us to anything other than applying. Then it kind of all lays on your shoulders, Surmed.
the motion has to follow this resolution.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's, okay.
Yeah, here we have a resolution and we have an agreement that we are acknowledging today. My homework was to come up with that number. Now, the question is, should we go for it or not? My recommendation for a 10% of 150 grand, definitely. That's an excellent opportunity to come up with an asset management plan, and you have hardware, software, and training for your staff to better control your asset. But it's, again, it's up to the board. And the intermediate, there could be some gray. I know Steve is still looking at that language. The worst case is we go till to December 2nd and we do not submit. That's not going to cost you anything. It will be my time, and I'm not going to charge you for it unless we apply. Oh, get approved, I'm sorry.
It would be a major error for us not to apply for this grant.
Don't have a problem applying. I'm all for it, as Jody said. You know, if we can go for this and get the money, it's if we need to come up with a lot of money. 15,000 is one thing. If we have to come up with 150,000, that's a whole nother. But Jody explained that can be done, so I'm a little more comfortable with that.
Board's pleasure.
Make a motion that we approve the resolution authorizing the SOG grant agreement as provided by the state of Michigan as presented.
Support.
We have to read it, don't we, Steve?
Yes,
Yeah.
there are some
Well-
things that need to be filled in.
Do we want to handle that under letter I under the SAW grant resolution, for you to read it at that time? Sure.
Yeah, the first item is to go forward with the SAW grant application. And the second item.
Let me cover that, and then I'm gonna hit you for your expertise on that, Mr. Johnson. Thank you. Motion by Clerk Keith, supported by Trustee Boyd. Any other question or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. SAW grant resolution. Thank you. And I'll let you read that resolution if that's okay, Mr. Johnson.
Yes, my pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, this one's a little bit longer. Whereas Part 52, Strategic Water Quality Initiatives of the Natural Resources and Environmental Protection Act 1994, Public Act 451 as amended, which is referred to in the resolution as Part 52, provides at MCL 324-5204E that the Michigan Finance Authority, which is referred to as the MFA in the resolution, in consultation with the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, which is referred to as the DEQ, shall establish a Strategic Water Quality Initiatives Grant Program. And whereas in accordance with the provisions of 2012 Public Act 511, which provides grants to municipalities for sewage collection and treatment systems or stormwater or non-point source pollution control, and whereas in accordance with the provisions of 1985 Public Act 227 as amended, Part 52, and other applicable provisions of law, the MFA, the DEQ, and the municipality that is a grant recipient shall enter into a grant agreement, which is referred to as the SAW grant agreement. That requires the municipality to repay the grant under certain conditions as set forth in MCL 324-5204E as amended. And whereas the municipality does hereby determine it necessary to establish an asset management plan. Whereas it is the determination of the municipality that at this time, a grant in the aggregate principal amount not to exceed $150,000, which would be referred to as the grant, be requested from the MFA and the DEQ to pay for the above mentioned undertaking. And whereas the municipality shall obtain this grant by entering into the SAW grant agreement with the MFA and the DEQ. Now therefore be it resolved that I will insert the township supervisor or his designee, a position currently held by Ron Trombley, is designated as the authorized representative for purposes of the SAW grant agreement. 2, the proposed form of the SAW grant agreement between the municipality, the MFA, and DEQ, attached sample grant agreement, so the agreement would be attached to this resolution, is hereby approved and the authorized representative is authorized and directed to execute the SAW grant agreement with such revisions as are permitted by law and agreed to by the authorized representative. 3, the municipality shall repay the grant within 90 days of being informed to do so with interest at a rate not to exceed 8% per year to the authority if the municipality is unable to or decides not to proceed with constructing the project or implementing the asset management program for which the funding is provided within 3 years of the grant award. 4, the grant, if repayable, shall be a first budget obligation of the municipality, and the municipality is required, if necessary, to levy ad valorem taxes on all taxable property in the municipality for the payment thereof, subject to applicable constitutional, statutory, municipality tax rate limitations. 5, the municipality shall not invest, reinvest, or accumulate any monies deemed to be grant funds, nor shall it use grant funds for the general local government administration activities or activities performed by municipal employees that are unrelated to the project. 6, the authorized representative is hereby jointly and or severally authorized to take any actions necessary to comply with the requirements of the MFA and the DEQ in connection with the issuance of the grant. The authorized representative is hereby jointly or severally authorized to execute and deliver such other contracts, certificates, documents, instruments, applications, and other papers as may be required by the MFA or the DEQ, or as may be otherwise necessary to effect the approval and delivery of the grant. 7, the municipality acknowledges that the SAW grant agreement is a contract between the municipality, the MFA, and the DEQ. 8, finally, all resolutions and parts of resolutions insofar as they conflict with the provisions of this resolution are rescinded. As you can see, I filled in some of the blanks there, and if there's any discussion, of course, that can take place. I just wanted to mention, I don't need to typically read, or we don't need to read, board doesn't need to read resolutions, but tonight we've had two, where we've had to fill in blanks and decide exactly how to do them.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
A motion to support the resolution?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Boyd, supported by trustee Turkey.
Okay, roll call.
Thank you. Deputy clerk. Roll call.
Turchi?
Aye.
Boyd?
Aye.
Attenbacher?
Aye.
Keith?
Aye.
Trombley?
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. That was a lot. Thank you. That was a lot, I know. Yeah. America Recycles Day. Jeanette? I have the information from Ms. Klein. You want to?
Yes. Kathy couldn't be here tonight, so she asked me to bring this to you. She sent us a copy of 2 different resolutions for America's Recycles Day, November 15th, and this is to bring recycling awareness to residences and businesses, and would like your support. Does everybody have a copy of this? No?
Do you have copies? Ooh, dropped one.
I do have it, yeah.
Attorney Joppy, you reviewed these.
Yes, I have.
Any problem with either one?
I do not.
Now, is this a two-part, or we pick which language we want to use?
One is intended for, if I may, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
One is intended for the governor and the other is intended for
Local.
local. Yes.
First being local, second government. So we're only concerned about the letter A, first page.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody has that? You want to read this, Jeanette, or how do you want to do it, Steve?
Steve, you're doing a great job.
I'd be happy.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You're right, you might as well.
This would be a proclamation to establish November 15, 2013 as America Recycles Day in Lenox Township, Macomb County, Michigan. Each year, the United States generates more than 250 million tons of municipal solid waste. That's more than 4 pounds per person per day. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, our nation has reached an overall recycling rate of 34.7%. Each year, our national recycling rate saves the energy equivalent of 229 million barrels of oil, saves the same amount of energy consumed by over 10 million U.S. households in a year, avoids greenhouse gas emissions equivalent to removing more than 34 million cars from the road each year. But much more can be done. Whereas, to focus the nation's attention on the importance of recycling, businesses, industries, government agencies, nonprofit organizations, and individuals have joined together to celebrate America Recycles Day and are encouraging their friends, neighbors, and coworkers to pledge to learn more about recycling options in their community and commit to recycle more materials. Whereas, participating in America Recycles Day 2013 is one way citizens can help raise awareness about the need to reduce waste by reusing, recycling, and buying recycled content products. Whereas, Lenox Township leaders can also use this as an opportunity to spread the word about the excellent recycling programs that have been established, the growth of markets for recyclable materials, and the importance of buying recycled products. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Lenox Township, Macomb County, Michigan, that Tuesday, November 15, 2013, is hereby proclaimed as America Recycles Day in Lenox Township, Macomb County, Michigan.
Thank you, sir.
Make a motion that we approve the resolution as presented and read by Stephen.
Support.
Motion by Clerk McKee, supported by Trustee Boyd. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
I'm there to celebrate that.
Nope. I'll be around.
Not celebrating recycle week, huh?
Township holiday office hours. Everybody has a copy of the proposed calendar.
There are many options that you guys can vote for today. With Christmas Eve being Tuesday, Christmas Day, Wednesday. Last year, we had 2 weeks, I believe, off. And none of the employees are asking for 2 weeks off. It's just how you want to do it. Do you want us to work Monday, have Tuesday and Wednesday off, then Thursday come back? The same thing would work for the next week.
Yeah.
That's one option. The other option is having that first whole week of Christmas off.
Does anybody have an influx of business at that time?
Well, the taxes, but because I have the bank collecting, that is an option, that they have a place to go. But legally, I am supposed to be able to take taxes, but I'm not obligated because of that. So I did talk, as I was calling on this administration fee thing to some of these communities, and while I had them on the phone, I was kind of asking them the same, what they do. And it was all over the board that was coming back to me. Many of them do whatever their county does. And I think with our county, with Macomb, they're open Monday. According to our
Yes.
book, they're open
Yeah, they're
Monday.
only closed Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you follow that, we'd be open on Monday, and then we have to be back on Thursday, and then of course we're closed Friday. So,
Right.
and then there were some that saying that they were asking their employees, which did they want? Did they want to take the Monday off, or would they rather have that, say, Thursday off? Because many of the municipalities are closed like we are, that I talked to on a Friday. So it was all over the board, whatever they were doing. But there was no one that closed down totally like we did last year.
Yeah, I think.
Doesn't our policy say that we follow Macomb County? What they have off, we have off?
Usually we do, yeah.
And my thoughts are, we need to decide this year, and it needs to be the same because we can't be changing it every year because the residents get confused.
Well, I think we did it last year because of the trying to save money on
Right.
electricity
Which we're
and
no
the
longer
heat and
worried about.
all of that, yeah. So,
And
but
actually,
we
it's
have
been-
the sheriffs in here now, so you have to have, we have to have heat, they will be in, so. It doesn't matter to me, but it was all over the board when I talked to the different communities.
I could see at the very least being closed on Thursday, the 26th, and Monday, the 30th, but working Monday, the 23rd, and working Thursday, the 2nd.
That's what I was thinking, because that way they have coming back, but you have those extra days off in between where a lot of people aren't going to be coming in here. They're doing visiting and holidays. So I agree with Jody. I think being open Monday, which would be Monday the 23rd, and then reopening Thursday the 2nd, and then go back to regular hours after that. I think that's a good idea.
Are we gonna make this an every year thing? I mean, we change this every year, it just gets so
Well,
confusing.
next year it would be,
The day changes every
Well,
year.
if we make it that we're gonna be closed 3 days and 3 days, the day before Christmas Eve
it all.
and the day after New Year's Day, every year,
Right, but
then
But
it's set in stone.
we have to look at the calendar every year and decide.
Well, no, it doesn't, because even if it falls on a Saturday, it doesn't matter. That's the way it is, because that's the way the county is. They have the set days, and if they fall on the weekend, oh well.
Well, okay, so with what you're just saying, if we're closed on Christmas Eve through New Year's Day, regardless of what day it is.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's the same every year.
But that doesn't always happen. When the Christmas has fallen on a weekend,
Doesn't matter.
we don't get paid those days because we're not open, so we lose those holidays. So there's no reason to take any extra days off. If Christmas was on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday,
Right.
we still work the normal 2 weeks. We still work.
Right, but if we haven't,
You'd still have a day before Christmas.
No, not necessarily.
if that's a Friday, if the
If it-
holiday's on the weekend, I understand that, but what we're gonna say from now on, we close the day before Christmas Eve and we only open after New Year's Day.
Yeah, we should always come back the day after New Year's
Yeah.
Day.
We're just trying to get it so it's the same every year, so the residents know this is the way it is from now on.
And if we're closed, just so the audience knows, it's not a paid holiday for the employees. If they want to get paid, they have to use their vacation time for this. But it's just being able to give them time off in between the holidays. Make a motion that we have the offices be closed on Christmas Eve through New Year's Day, so that encompasses December 24th, 25th, 26th, 30th, 31st, and the 1st.
Support.
Motion by Clerk Keith, supported by Treasurer Ottenbacher. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Building Department resignation.
I just wanted to be read into the record from our meeting on the 22nd, so that 10 years from now, when someone's looking to see when Nancy retired, we can find it. Discussion focused on the need to hire a replacement for Nancy Hansen, who has placed her, I shouldn't say resignation, she is retiring. Motion by Ottenbacher, supported by Boyd, to place a classified advertisement in the Voice newspaper, duration of 2 weeks, for receptionist at $7.50 per hour, and for the building department clerical with a range of $8 to $10 per hour with benefits for each position. And that was approved so that we could get an ad in the paper and not wait for tonight. The ad was in the paper this week, and there are now, at this point, we have 42 applications. So this was just a discussion, it was just to read it into the record. Nothing else has to be done.
Okay. Thank you. Public comment. Is there any public comment this time? No public comment. Motion, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Trustee Boyd, supported by Trustee Turchi. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.